Good morning, everybody. Happy Sunday. Hope yours is going well. And I thought now would be a pretty good time to check on some roster predictions. The draft is over. We've got a pretty good idea of what the UDFA field is going to be. A couple days ago, the Seahawks actually got rid of a couple of low-level guys and brought in a couple new ones. That's going to continue on until the preseason gets here, basically. But I thought now would be a pretty good time to throw out a 53-man plus 17-man practice squad roster prediction for 2022. Obviously, nothing huge is going to happen between now and the start of the season in terms of bringing on another guy, in all likelihood. There are a couple of free agents still floating around out there. Like, there's obviously the KJ Wright thing, but I don't really see any of that stuff happening. So I feel like I can start to really narrow down on what the 53-man roster and mostly the practice squad, what it will look like. So here is my current prediction. You might be wondering what these colors are over here with the position designators. That's for a future video. We will talk about that soon. But this video, I just want to focus on the actual players listed. So as you can see, what I have here is a full 53-man roster, a 17-man practice squad, and 21 cuts. So you add it all together, you get 91. So 53-man roster, 17-man practice squad, plus 21 cuts is 91 players. That's your 90-man roster plus an extra spot for Donkor. I don't know if he counts against the 90-man roster or not. I know he doesn't count against the practice squad because of his designation as a whatever that thing the NFL's doing, trying to provide a easier pipeline for I think it's European players. I'm not sure exactly how it works, but the point is, I believe that you do have an extra spot for him. So this is basically your 90-man roster as of right now. Now, like I said, there's going to be a lot of turnover in the next few months over here with the cut guys. These guys are guys who are currently on the roster that I don't think will be when the season starts. But you're possibly going to see these guys get released well before the preseason or the season and replaced with other guys who are equally unlikely to get cut. Now, obviously, who are equally likely to get cut. Now, that doesn't really affect the 53-man and the practice squad. That's what's important here, but it's worth noting that there's going to be some decent movement over here in all likelihood, but it won't actually amount to anything significant for the team. Okay, so let's run through it real quick. Quarterback, I've got Drew Lock and Geno Smith on the active roster. I think that's pretty easy to guess. Jacob Eason on the practice squad. Ellaby and Lewis on the cut list. It wouldn't amaze me if Ellaby took Eason's spot. Eason seems like he can't pick up a playbook. Seems like he just doesn't have a lot of passion for the game of football. Wouldn't shock me if Ellaby took it, but as of right now, I think Eason's raw ability gets him there. Obviously, it's not a big deal either way. I don't think either guy's has any kind of NFL future, but that's what I got. Running back. This is where I took a little bit of a bold stance. I've got Penny and Walker at 1 and 2. I think that's pretty clear. Dallas and Homer behind him. Both guys have proven they can do some things at a competent level at the NFL level. In particular, Travis Homer's a great third down back. DJ's actually shown that he's improved as a blocker as well. So they're both sufficient backups for Penny and Walker should something happen to either guy. I've got Josh Johnson on the practice squad. He was one of the guys that I really wanted to get a look at last year. Didn't happen, but hopefully he can stick on the practice squad this year. He's probably my favorite guy outside of these four. And then I have Darian Thompson and Chris Carson on the cut list. Obviously, the Carson thing, no guarantees. It's kind of hard to interpret what this team is doing with him. On the one hand, they clearly want to keep him, but on the other hand, every time we get news about Carson, every time we get whispers of what's going on with his rehab, it's never anything good. It seems like it's always like, things aren't looking so good. We're not going to know for a while. So I'm going to go out on a limb here and say between now and the start of the season, we can't do this. And Carson is shipped to the unemployment line. But he did get that second contract, so he'll be okay. But that's the running back room. Nick Ballore is the fullback. Obviously, you only need one fullback. You don't really need any fullbacks. Ballore is also a linebacker and a special teamer, so he's adding value that way. But yeah, he's still going to be here in all likelihood just because of his value in all three phases. Okay, wide receiver. This is where things are difficult and crowded. I went with Metcalf, Lockett, Eskridge. I think that's pretty set in stone. And then you've got Swain and Bo Melton. Now, you could do a lot of different things down here at this part of the roster with Swain and Melton. Some people think Swain might not even make the team. Some people think Bo's better. Some people think that maybe Melton ends up not making the team. Obviously, it depends on your perception of him as a prospect. But this is what I went with for now. And on the practice squad, I've got Aaron Fuller, Derek Young, Penny Hart, Cade Johnson. So I like all four of these guys with the possible exception of Hart. And then I've got guys like Cody Thompson and the guys we signed 2 days ago on the cut list. I wouldn't shock me if Derek made the team over Swain. Honestly, I think Derek could add more value to the team than Swain. But he's got a lot to learn, and he might not be ready yet. That's all possible. So don't be shocked if Swain just kind of keeps this position because of seniority. But that's going to be kind of an interesting thing to keep an eye on in the offseason. And I think everything else is pretty reasonable. Okay, tight end. This one's easy. Fant, number 1. Disley, number 2. Parkinson, number 3. None of those guys are going anywhere. Mabry's the practice squatter. He's kind of always the practice squad tight end around here. And then you've got Cade Brewer, cut. No room for him on this team. I think we released, I think his name is John Mitchell. Just a couple days ago, he was another tight end who had a chance to maybe make the roster. And that's your tight end room. Pretty easy, pretty obvious. Okay, offensive line, we've got pretty straightforward at the tackle spots. Cross and Forsyth backing him up. Left guard, we've got Phil Haynes. I'm crossing my fingers on this one. I don't know if it's actually happening, but I'm hoping. I'm hopeful. I think Phil Haynes is the best possible player we could put at that position right now. I really do believe that. And I've got UDFA, Shamarius Gilmore, as his backup. He's going to be the UDFA who clings on. That's my guess right now. I'm hopeful. I really like what I hear about Gilmore. I look at his profile and I see more of a left guard than a right guard, so hope it happens. And I've got Pierre-Olivier Lestage making the practice squad. So Lestage is probably like a backup for both guard spots. Center, we've got Austin Blythe and Kyle Fuller. Again, I think that's pretty clear. And Shepley's on the practice squad. Maybe Shepley takes Fuller's spot. Maybe these spots flip. It's possible. But as of right now, I would guess Fuller. Right guard, I've got Damian Lewis and Gabe Jackson. Now, Gabe probably can't actually be a backup because he is making so much money. So you might see Gabe get cut, and then we bring in some vet min guy to be the backup right guard behind Damian Lewis. That's what I'm hoping happens. That's what I'm rooting for. And I don't know. I think that at the end of the day, Gabe, like, I know he's an okay player, but I just don't see any reason to continue to let him to play when he's so already old, already not the best player in the world. Probably just going to get worse at this point. And I just don't see the value. Like, let's move on to something else. Right tackle, easy. Abe Lucas, Jake Curhan, and Island on the cut list. Island's on the fringe, though. He might make the team. Practice squad. I think it's possible. But this is pretty... I think the tackle spots are really easy. The only question to me is, does Island make the practice squad or not? Okay, defense. Nose tackle. We got Al Woods and we got Brian Monet. Pretty obvious, right? Pretty easy. I don't see anybody on the practice squad. Gotel is going to get cut, I'm sure. He's just kind of here to take up space. Big guy, but probably not a real shot at making the active roster. Defensive end, we got Shelby Harris and Poona Ford. We're going to have to find out if Poona Ford can do it. But as of right now, I think he's going to be the starter until he proves he can't do it. LJ Collier and Quentin Jefferson are the backups. LJ might get cut, but LJ's going to have to get replaced with somebody else. You can't carry 3 defensive ends in the active roster. So even if Collier goes, you're just going to replace him with somebody who's probably not much better. Hewitt and Adams are going to be your other 2 defensive ends on the practice squad. They played a little bit last year, I think, but I don't think they're going to make the active roster this year. So I think you're probably looking at both those guys on the PS to start. No cuts here. Outside linebacker, pretty predictable here as well. We've got Darrell Taylor. You've got Nwosu. Mafe and Alton Robinson are your backups, and Tyreek Smith is your fifth guy off the bench. Or, well, third guy off the bench. Donkor is a practice squatter because he's got the free spot, and Alex Tchangam is a cut. Close cut, though. Wouldn't shock me if he found a way on the practice squad somehow, because he's a interesting player. But that seems pretty straightforward to me. Inside linebacker, we've got Jordan Brooks taking up one spot. The other one, I can see a couple different ways this goes, but I've got Cody Barton right now, BBK, and E.A. Buniwe behind them. I don't think we signed E.A. Buniwe to end up on like the practice squad. I think he's here for special teams, but you got to give him the roster spot. So E.A. Buniwe probably going to make the roster for special teams purposes, but he will be listed as an inside linebacker. Radigan's on the practice squad again. Lakiem Williams is cut. Lee Jones is cut, and Onu Giogu is cut. Apparently, we didn't give Avery Roberts an actual UDFA deal. I don't know what's going on there. Maybe he was just an invite, but I didn't see him on the roster. But either way, I would give him a puncher's chance of making the practice squad. But if we're not even having him on the roster right now, then obviously that's out. And that's your linebacker core. Cornerback. Outside corners, I have. This is kind of tough, but Sidney Jones and Kobe Bryant are 1 and 2. Trey Brown is probably going to take one of those spots when he's back from injury. But for right now, I have him listed at number 3, and Tariq Woolen's cornerback number 4. Outside corner number 4. And on the practice squad, we have Michael Jackson, who impressed last year, and then Cole, and controversially, maybe Artie Burns on the cut list. I was trying to figure out how to split up the 53 roster spots well, and Burns just kind of struck me as dead weight. We didn't give him enough money to make it matter if we cut him or not. His deal might be fully non-guaranteed. If it's not fully guaranteed, it's very fully non-guaranteed. It's very close. And the fact that we double-dipped at corner with Kobe and Woolen in the draft makes me think Burns is probably... I think he's going to end up being like the Witherspoon, except unlike Witherspoon, it's not going to cost you any money to let him go, or very little, so it's fine. But I just feel like Burns is going to be one of the odd men out. It could be Collier, but Collier you would actually have to replace with somebody playing the same position. I guess you could maybe trade Alton Robinson for a late pick. Maybe you get rid of Gabe Jackson and just don't bring in another guard to replace him for now, I guess, and roll with 9 offensive linemen. But most teams don't do that. So I'm going to guess it's Artie Burns right now who kind of makes the veteran cut list. That could go many different ways, though. Nickel corner, I got Justin Coleman, number 1, Ugo, number 2, Ryan Neal, number 3. Ugo's actually another guy who may be on the cut list, but as of right now, I'm not really expecting it. To be clear, Ryan Neal I look at as a dime corner, but I listed him here because you got to put him somewhere. But to me, Ryan Neal, what he's adding value as is a dime corner. I got John Reed on the practice squad and Josh Turner on the cut list at the nickel corner position. All right, so now we've got safety. This is pretty easy. We got Jamal Adams and Quandre Diggs starting. They should be playing 100% of the snaps if they are healthy. And you've also got Marquise Blair backing both spots up until he gets hurt again, which is, very good chance that happens. You're probably going to see Blair get a chance at nickel corner and maybe even outside corner as well. His versatility is going to help him. I've got Bubba Bolden and Tanner Muse making the practice squad, but there's going to be an intense competition for the practice squad safety spots. You've got Josh Jones, who played well in a game last year. You've got Nelson, a UDFA with promise. Joey Blunt, UDFA with promise. Deontay Williams, UDFA with promise. It's going to be a battle for these last couple of practice squad spots, and I'm excited for it. This is the kind of stuff you want to do. This is the competition that you want to breed to bring out the best in everybody. So I have Bolden and Muse, but don't be shocked if it's 2 other guys. Don't be shocked if one of these 6 guys makes the active roster. Like if they show the versatility to maybe play both safety spots, that's going to be valuable. And maybe that's something that pushes Ugo out. Maybe that's something that convinces you to push Gabe out and just roll with 9 offensive linemen active on Sundays. It's all possible. It's all on the table. But That's basically the safety room. And then, of course, we have kicker, Myers, punter, Dixon, and long snapper, Tyler Ott to get us to the full slate of players. So as you can see, the roster, 53-man full, practice squad full, cut list is all accounted for. So that's where I see this roster right now going into 2022. Like I said, you're going to see a lot of movement over here over the next few months. You're going to see, I'm probably going to get some of the practice squad spots wrong because that's hard to predict. But the 53-man, I think I got a chance because a lot of this stuff is self-explanatory and obvious right now. And I took my best guess at the areas where it's not so clear. Let me know what you guys think. Let me know what you would move around, what you would reconsider. Personally, I'm still waiting for the NFL to expand their roster sizes a couple spots because of the extra game. I don't know why it's such a no-brainer thing to do. Just give us 55 spots. But pending that, that's what I have right now. And this will segue into the next slew of videos that I plan on making on this channel. So keep an eye out over the next several mornings where we start talking about the future, and I mean the longer-term future of this team. So I will see you guys in the near future. Probably catch me on stream later. If not, see you guys tomorrow morning. Peace out. Go Hawks. And that's our team right now, I think. I think that's the team.